I don't really have any funny stories again. Well, I mean, there's always funny things happening at my house, but like, I don't really feel like I have a funny story just because the last 3 days have just been like crying and screaming and fussiness because every time I turn around, someone has a bloody appendage. Like,
Oh my gosh.
between my big one skinning his knee like 2 days in a row,
But not the same knee.
but not the same knee. And then the little one skinning his knee 20 minutes apart, which it's pretty much healed. But then face planting today, and now he looks like somebody punched him in the face because his lips all swollen. I'm just like, can someone can someone please help me because it looks like we beat our children. They're
Do we need to
just
have an intervention?
no. They just look like they are not well loved, and I promise they are.
Hey guys, it's your host Jaycee. Welcome to Queries of a Newborn Christian, the podcast where my faith is new, my questions are endless, and my curiosity could be considered my spiritual gift. Think of this podcast as Christianity 101, but with more laughs, constant detours, and a lot of confusion on my end. Grab your drink and come join me as I grow in my walk with Jesus.
All right, Heidi, today we are talking about John chapter 2, which I actually have my legitimate Bible sitting in front of me today. And the
Nice.
name that my Bible has given this chapter is Jesus and Jewish Institutions.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, okay, I take that back. That's Jesus and Jewish Institutions, it says, is chapter 2, verse 1 through chapter 4, verse 54. So it's like longer.
Oh, okay.
But it does say this first section, chapter 2, verse 1 through 12, water into wine, a new joy.
So this is the first sign.
Of 7.
Yes.
Yes, okay. All right, guys, so before we dive into chapter 2, we invite you to pause, take a second to read chapter 2 for yourself, and then follow along. Chapter 2, verse 1. On the third day, a wedding took place in Cana of Galilee. Jesus' mother was there, and Jesus and his disciples were invited to the wedding as well. When the wine ran out, Jesus' mother told him, "They don't have any wine." And Jesus responds, "What does that have to do with you and me, woman?" Jesus asked, "My hour has not yet come." Every time I read this, I'm like, God, you're so snotty. Calm down, boy. Like, if one of my children came up and was like, "What does that have to do with you, mother?" I'd be like, "Who are you talking to? Excuse me?"
It does sound like there are some things lost in translation in here because it does sound very rude.
Yes. Mother.
So he
Woman.
refers to her as woman,
Yes.
but from my understanding is like we would read it as woman, but it's more of a sign of respect the way you would talk to a lady.
They didn't have ma'am or anything like that back then. Mrs.
Maybe not. Yeah.
Madame.
But I think you have to look at why didn't he say, what does this have to do with me, Mom?
I mean, yeah.
Because so he's not referring to her. So there's like this change in relationship at this moment.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's at this moment or that has happened, but he's gone from,
"You're not my mom."
maybe. So some of the things that I have been reading suggest that all of his siblings are now grown.
Mm-hmm.
So at some point in time, Joseph has passed away.
We think. We don't know 100% for sure, but we
Right.
think.
There's this assumption that at some point in time, Joseph has passed away. There's no more anything about him.
Right.
So that left Jesus to be the head of the household, the maintainer of.
Right, because he's the oldest male now.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea is, well, they're all grown, taken care of. He can now begin to step away from that role of being the caretaker of the whole family. And And this is kind of that first time of maybe, okay, I am in a position of, I have disciples with me.
I wonder if that's why he didn't start his ministry until he was about 30. He was busy taking care of his family. And I honestly didn't even think of that. I mean, I know we've talked about it in the past that at some point we assume that Joseph has died. It's never clarified. It's never confirmed or anything like that. I don't know if we even know how many siblings he has, like Jesus has, from Mary and Joseph. But I didn't even think of that because I have wondered, like, why wait until you're 30 and then why was it only 3 years worth of a ministry? But, like, he's probably taking care of his siblings. I didn't think about that. That's interesting.
He's always been the one taking care of everybody. And I kind of see it as, so if I am talking to my husband at home, I'll say something like, hey, babe. And I laugh because the big one is like, why do you call him babe?
Oh, yeah. The number of times that he's referred to my husband, he's like, babe. And my husband looks at him and he's like, what? Huh? I know you're not talking to me. But to be fair, he also called his little brother his son today. So I was like, you don't even have a clue. It's fine. He's like, he's my son. I'm like, no, he's not. He is not. I can promise you that. And he was like, yes, he is. He's my brother, but he's my son. I was like, all right. Whatever.
And you said there was nothing funny to talk about.
That's the thing. There's always funny things happening in my house. It's just I can't remember any of it.
Until you start talking. And then it's like, oh, yeah.
Until I start talking. It goes back to there. Okay. Well, there is a funny thing. I wasn't there to witness it, though, so I don't feel like it's my story to tell. But apparently my husband was making coffee yesterday morning. And the big one decided he had to help. He had to put the sugar in the coffee for my husband.
He is quite the barista. I don't know what a male barista.
I don't know.
But yep, that thing.
Yes, he likes to help with the coffee. Well, as he's in the process of putting the sugar in the coffee for my husband, he coughs directly into the coffee. And when my husband goes, dude, don't do that, he was like, but it's coffee. It's like, it's coffee. And you're like,
that's so good.
I've said it. I don't know if I've said it on the podcast before. I know I've said it to you of like, there are times where I'm like, why couldn't I have married a doormat? Because my child is just like him. And I can't deal with this anymore. Of living with two, almost three, just testosterone fueled people that I'm like, I need you to stop being, I can't say it, stop being like this.
Yes.
This early in the morning. Like, I don't drink real coffee. I drink foo-foo coffee. But I haven't even had my foo-foo coffee yet, okay? Like, stop it. So.
But to be so young and to put that together.
Yeah, you know what? I know, because I'm like, there's no way. He's just normal. He's above average. He's so smart. And now I'm like, he's not even 4. Oh my gosh, I'm screwed.
It's hilarious.
Like, these children are going to ruin my life in the best way possible. I'm so scared. I don't know how to parent these children. They're too smart for me. Like, even the little one, he does things. He like I said, he's been biting me, and he'll look at my chest where he bit me and he goes, boo-boo. And I'm like, yeah, I know, you bit me. Of course I have a boo-boo. And he goes, huh, boo-boo. Like, in the most loving way possible, I hate you. Like, go away. I feel like I just get abused in my house by my children.
I wonder if Mary felt that.
I mean, not by Jesus, but maybe the other ones. I don't have a Jesus in my house, though. I think the closest thing I have is Merle, the dog.
If one of them turned around and said, woman?
That would 100% be the big one. He's pretty much already done that to begin with. He does that sometimes. I'm like, boy, We're going to get smacked around. I don't know if I can include that and then someone not tell me that I'm abusive, but I'm like, you watch your mouth. Talk to me like that.
So here's the question that I have. Like when I
Okay.
read, we're dialing it back in. So Jesus said, "My hour has not yet come."
Yes.
Well, after she has said all, the wine has run out.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus' mother told him, they don't have any wine. First of all, why does it matter?
Yeah, I was eventually going to get there I'm assuming that like obviously this wedding that they're going to, Mary and Jesus have a connection with the family. Otherwise they wouldn't be there.
Yes.
So with that in mind, Mary has to have some sense of familiarity, loyalty, or something like that to the wedding party to be concerned that they've run out of wine or care to begin with, I would think.
Yeah.
Unless she's just like that sweet that they're strangers and she's like, oh no. But could you go into, a little bit of detail on why running out of wine is such a problem? Because I remember when we went over John a year ago, I was like, well, that sucks. No more getting lit. Like, I don't understand Jewish tradition, so I don't understand why it's a problem.
So when couples would get married, Jewish tradition, the marriage tradition would be that the groom would go to the bridegroom's home in the middle of the night with kind of a party, a bridal party, or the bridegroom party, whatever. And so the bride's waiting, the bridegroom goes with the party. They go get the bride, bring the bride back to the house.
Okay.
That's when then they have this big party. So this is the bridal party, this big party. So
Mm-hmm.
during this time of this big, and this party is last days. I think it's 7 days. So it's.
Can I just say that's an excessively long amount of time to sit around and drink and dance?
Let's put it in perspective. They don't have TV. They don't have internet. They don't have books to read.
Okay, but like when I got married to your child, our wedding ended early because we were like, I'm tired. I want to go. Like, it was fun. I had a good time. But I was like, I'm tired of dancing. I just want to go, like, eat some more cake and go to bed. It's been a long day. So 7 days seems so excessive. I mean, I could get it where it's like there's nothing else to do, but in that moment, like, no, take me back to our little hotel room, rub my feet so I can go to bed.
Well, and when you talk about the wine part of it, so at the beginning of the 7 days is when they would serve the good wine, because they figured that by the time they get to the end of the 5 days, 7 days, whatever the time, like days, they're not going to remember what that last bit of wine tastes like because they have been drinking so much wine over so much time.
I wonder how many people died back then from alcohol poisoning at a wedding. You ever wondered that? Like, you're binge drinking for 7 days.
But did it have the same potency? That would be another question.
I don't know. I wasn't there.
Yeah,
I don't know. I would be curious, like, is it like 1 part alcohol to 99 parts grape juice? Like, I mean, it's got to have some sort of kick, but
it's more intriguing. So as you move along, so we know the good wine is usually served, but they've served all the wine. They're going to run out of wine.
Yeah, they serve the good wine
Mm-hmm.
so that people taste the good wine and think they've spent money on the good wine. And then they serve you the crap wine when you're too drunk to know.
Yes.
Theoretically.
Yes, theoretically.
Okay.
Majority of the time. But the importance of if they run out of wine, why does it matter? Why does it matter if they run out of wine?
Yes,
like,
why?
Serve them some grape juice, whatever. But it can even go to legal issues. They could get in trouble and be fined for running out of wine. And the bride and the groom, this is what I was reading in some of my research. I was like, this is insanity. But what else do they have to do, right? The bride and the groom would then be known as like the people who ran out of wine. And that's how they would be known, like, forever.
That is obscene to get in trouble for running out of wine. I remember the stress of wedding planning and being like, I want to make sure we have enough alcohol, which it was kind of hard for our wedding because we weren't allowed to have any like hard liquor or anything like that.
So you
It
had
was,
wine.
yeah, well, we had wine and we had like a margarita and pina colada with a wine base. So it wasn't like a true pina colada or anything like that. And then we had beer and that was it. And our venue wouldn't allow anything hard. And so, which is fine, whatever. But I remember the stress of like, okay, I gotta make sure that we have enough for the number of people that we had for this amount of time. And like 7 days, I can't get over 7 days. 7 days of drinking. I don't understand how you do that. Like, do you literally just drink until you pass out at your table? That's so uncomfortable. And you're just, whatever it rains on you. Like, no.
There's a lot of questions.
Okay, well,
Do you feed
bottom
them the whole
line,
time?
yeah, absolutely not. That's nuts. I didn't realize they could get fined. That's crazy.
Yeah. It was hospitality was a huge thing. And
I'm just sitting here going, if somebody came to me and tried to write me a ticket for not having enough alcohol at my wedding, they probably would have gotten my foot up their butt. I would have been like, get out.
Yeah.
Leave.
Yeah.
Anyway, continue. Sorry, you've blown my mind. Everything else we have ever talked about, mind has been blown before, not to this level of insanity for getting fined over minimum wine.
I think it's just important when you go through and you talk about this and like your mind being blown because so what? They ran out of wine. He turns water into wine. Miracle. Okay.
And that's what I've had in the past of like, okay, why is this that big of a deal? Like, I mean, yes, it's amazing, but like, why?
Right.
Okay. Weird flex, but okay, I guess.
But it was a huge. The other thing too, I think. So let's put it in a different context. We've talked about before how Mary was probably an outcast because she was pregnant when she got married and she was known, and that was probably the label of how she'd always been seen. Was she often invited to a wedding? Was she seen as one of the people who was supposed to be helping to make sure that the wedding ran smoothly? So if she failed, then now she would have it like another mark against her.
Right. Yeah. In The Chosen, they take the viewpoint of Mary is friends with the groom's parents. And so she shows up early to help them decorate and all of this stuff. And so that's why she like knows that they've run out of wine and comes to Jesus and asks for help. Which I know that's like obviously speculation because like we just don't know. And they're kind of using creative abilities to put that in the story. I don't think it takes away from the story at all. I mean, the wine situation still happens, but yeah.
We don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. I mean, I feel like that's a safe assumption that she has some sort of hand in it because she knows. Because you don't want anybody to know that they have done it. So you have to take care of the situation before it happens.
Yes.
So, yeah, I would agree that, like, just based on context, minimal context, but, like, she probably had some hand and, like, at least knew the family well enough. And I would think they would have to know them, Mary and Jesus, well enough to be like, oh, you're coming with a bunch of other people we've never met? Sure, I like you enough for that to be okay. To bring the disciples along, which at this point, I don't think we know how many disciples he has with him. I think it mentions it. But.
No. But that might be another piece of it is we brought all these other people that they weren't really planning on, and now they're running out of wine.
Yeah.
And we brought all these people. So maybe there is some feeling of responsibility for that.
Yeah,
but
that's true.
I find it interesting that Mary immediately was like, hey, Jesus can fix it.
Yeah, because I would think he hasn't done anything yet. If this is his first sign,
His first public sign.
public sign. I wonder how many broken bones he healed when he was growing up.
Right?
Like his siblings, they broke a toe and he was like, yeah. But they still didn't believe. What buttholes?
It does make me think that something had to have happened.
Right. She had to know. Well, I mean, she already knew. She carried him. She was visited by the angel. Like she knew him and his purpose. So I'm sure she was like, I think she was probably like, it's time. Flex your power.
But there's
Flex
a
your
difference between
muscles.
knowing and seeing it. Like,
Yeah.
the angel came and said, this is who this
Mhm.
is, but I haven't seen any, besides he's a great kid. He's a
Right.
great, growing up, he's good. He took care of me after
Mhm.
Joseph died. He's been great, all this. But I just feel like there has to be, she had to know something, that he could do something. He could
Right.
do more.
So I do think, going back, so verse 4, what does this have to do with you and me, woman? Jesus asked. My hour has not yet come. To me, that reads as Jesus is not like, oh crap, we drank too much of their wine. Like I brought too many people. So now this is an issue. But what does this my hour has not yet come mean? I mean, like I kind of have an idea, but like for anyone who
What's your
doesn't have,
idea?
look, I know, no, it's not how this
Yes.
works.
But I think it's important to hear, like, you have enough understanding of things to draw conclusions.
Well, okay, so if this is me reading it the first time, I'm like, I don't know. Maybe you can only turn water into wine at exactly midnight. He's like Cinderella. But now I kind of, and again, my opinion is like a little bit skewed just based off of watching The Chosen and everything, because I have this like picture of Jesus and the disciples in mind and like this particular scene. But I kind of look at it now. It's not necessarily trying to delay things from happening, because they'll happen when they happen. And it's already, I want to say it's predetermined, but like he knows when things are going to happen. But I think it's kind of I almost wonder if he's just like not ready yet. Like he being, fully man, but also fully God. Like he's still man. And so he's not ready to be public yet. Because like in The Chosen, when they do this scene, it's behind closed doors. Nobody sees him do this.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, it's still like his first sign that's written down, but like he's not out in the open boasting about this in the show.
Mm-hmm.
And we haven't continued to read, so I don't know how this goes, but I don't remember. I guess I can read it, but
Well, go ahead and read the next verse because it's kind of funny.
yeah. So he goes again, verse 4. What does this have to do with you and me, woman? Jesus asked. My hour has not yet come. Verse 5, do whatever he tells you, his mother told the servants. Now 6 stone water jars had been set there for Jewish purification. Each contained 20 or 30 gallons. Verse 7, fill the jars with water, Jesus told them. So they filled them to the brim. Then he said to them, now draw some out and take it to the head waiter. And they did. And I'm assuming what you're laughing about is verse 5, do whatever he tells you, where he tells her no.
Yes.
And she was like, boy, get your act together. Change that water into wine. She's telling the servants, he'll do it. It's fine. I'm his
Do whatever
mother.
he tells you to do.
Yeah. And
He's like, it's not my time. And she's like, do whatever he tells you to do. It's fine.
She mothered
He's gonna
him.
fix it.
She straight up
she
mothered him.
did.
She bullied him into doing the first sign. She was like, do it or else.
You are not going to let me be ridiculed in society
Exactly.
for not having
Right.
enough wine.
Mhm.
Do it.
Yeah. No.
I love it.
I do think it's funny because it's like, I kind of picture you and my husband, and he's like, no, I'm not doing this. And you just look at him and he's like, okay. Tail tucked between his legs and goes and does whatever it is. Not that he's confrontational, but yeah. That's kind of how I'm picturing it. Is he just like rolls his eyes and walks away? You know?
Yes. Yeah. I could see it that way for
But
sure.
he'd have some sort of sarcastic comment under his breath as he did it.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
So-
my children have all kinds of sarcastic comments about me under their breath.
I know
But
they do.
they still will do the things when mom says, hey, would you mind? And
Yeah.
they'll still do it. All right, fine, mom. Oh my gosh, she is so needy.
Yeah, no, she mothered him. She mothered him good. But yeah, okay, so verse 6, now 6 stone water jars had been set there for Jewish purification. Each contained 20 or 30 gallons. That's, oh God, math. We'll just say at minimum 300 gallons of water.
Oh, let me help you out there.
Is that bad?
Yes, that was bad math.
Hey, it's 9:18 at night. I'm supposed to be getting up for a 5K tomorrow. I thought I'd be in bed by now. And I
Okay,
don't feel
so-
100%. So redo that math for me.
So we're going to go minimum.
I'm
There's
not good
6
at
of
math.
them. There's 6 of them. And
Yes.
each contain 20 or 30 gallons. So
Uh-huh.
6 times 20
Don't talk to me.
is 120.
I, for whatever reason, was thinking in fives. Like
And 6 times
like
30.
50, like 6 times 50, whatever. I'll just shut up now. Either way, they had more than the gallon of milk in my fridge. They had a lot.
They had a lot of them.
Okay, so
More like 120 of them.
shut up. So what's the thing with the stone water jars for purification?
So it's interesting because the jars for purification were used in, obviously, Old Testament Jewish purification ceremonies.
Mm-hmm.
So they were large, and it was water set aside, and it was, supposed to be for these certain things or whatever.
So, but these aren't just like general, like, oh, pour some water out so you can wash your hands.
No.
These are like,
No.
it's a special water.
Yes.
Okay.
That they, and I don't know all the details of it, but it particular for this reason, but they were large jars.
Mhm.
Whereas in normal everyday, I mean, obviously you're not going to be able to pick these up and carry them around because
Right.
they're going to be too big
Mm-hmm.
and too heavy if they're full of water.
20 to
So-
30 gallons. I'm trying to think of something that would be equivalent. Maybe a bathtub? I don't know how much a bathtub holds,
I don't know.
but that's a lot. I mean, if you think about like your gallon of milk in your fridge,
Mm-hmm. And you put 20 of them, then that
and
would
they're
be,
stone.
yes.
So those
they're
suckers
not
are
going
heavy.
anywhere.
Right.
So they're there, and they're used particularly for this ceremony,
Mm-hmm.
Old Testament things. But here we have Jesus who is ushering in the New Testament, the new covenant. So we're
Right.
getting away from old covenant rules and laws,
Mm-hmm.
and he's using that, and he's showing, but I'm new. I'm bringing something new.
Mm.
I don't know. It's just a thought, right?
Right. Is there a reason they're stone? Because I mean, me just having been interested in like Greek and Roman history and mythology in the past, like most of the time their pots are made of like clay and stuff. So is there a reason that this is stone jars?
I could give you a good guess.
Okay.
I don't know 100%. My guess would be like they don't want them to be moved around.
So in The Chosen, they talk about it
Oh,
and they say that the stone is pure.
okay. That's an interesting.
They say that the stone is pure and it can't be. But
Can't use
Some-
tools on it.
Well, just summarizing that, like, the stone is pure. The other vessels used to transport, like, the wine, like, probably the vessels that the wine arrived in to begin with were clay vessels or something like that. But it, over time, soaks up the liquid inside. And so the jar itself is no longer pure or something like that is what I got from it. But the stone is pure. And it's only had water in it. So it is pure.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's what they said, which I thought was interesting. And in the moment, it makes sense.
Well, and when you think about the temple, the stones that were used on the temple, you couldn't use tools on them
What?
to build the temple.
You could be
because
how do
they
you
had
how do you get columns if you can't use tools on them?
because they were able to just stack them. I don't know. I wasn't there. That was just
So you're just sitting there wandering around looking for the perfect rock?
I guess they bring them in or
That
there's
makes
certain
no
tools
sense. Well,
they
no
can't
wonder
use
it took
on
so
them.
long. No wonder it took like 40 years or something to build it back. You're
Yeah.
not allowed to use a chisel on it. Oh my gosh. Wow. These people make their lives so much harder than it needs to be. Don't come for me if there's a Jewish person listening. I don't know your ways. Either way, whatever. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Where are you going to find jars? Stone jars. The stone that's shaped like a jar.
Yeah. They have to be built.
I'm getting irritated.
Okay, let me Google it. Stone jars.
I don't know how long we've been on here because it doesn't show the time on my end.
Oh, it doesn't?
No. But
42 minutes.
We're not even on verse 7 yet.
Yeah. Yeah. Because we're stuck on stones. We're trying to figure out stones. What is the deal with stones?
But that's where I go back to everything that they include. It's important for a reason.
It is.
So
I agree.
I'm just curious. Like, there's got to be a reason that it was 6 stone jars for Jewish purification. There's got to be a reason that John has included it.
Under Levitical law, stone does not contract ritual impurity the way clay does.
Mic drop. I was right. Thank you, Chosen. Okay.
Let's see.
All right. Well, I'm going to keep reading.
Okay, keep reading.
All right. So verse 7, fill the jars with water, Jesus told them. So they filled them to the brim. Then he said to them, now draw some out and take it to the head waiter. And they did. Verse 9, when the head waiter tasted the water after it had become wine, he did not know where it came from, though the servants who had drawn the water knew. He called the groom and told him, everyone sets out the fine wine first. Then after the people are drunk, the inferior. But you have kept the fine wine until now. Jesus did this, the first of his signs in Cana of Galilee. He revealed his glory, and his disciples believed in him. After this, he went down to Capernaum together with his mother, his brothers, and his disciples, and they stayed there only a few days. That's the end of the first section of chapter 2. But yeah, so he tells the servants to go fill the jars with water. And so they do that. And there's never anything on here. Like, obviously in the show, you have to kind of like give it some razzle dazzle, some pizzazz,
Mm-hmm.
And there's no like he whips out a wand and is like abracadabra wine, like that doesn't happen. It just happens. But you got to have some way of showing in the show that he has done something. But in here, it's just like fill the jars with water, and he's like, all right, now take the water back out and go serve it. There's no like explanation of how he's done what he's done. Like, there's no like, and then he did a happy dance, and then it's nothing. Like, it just is. Like, it wasn't, and now it is.
So
you rolled your eyes real big there.
No, I wasn't rolling my eyes.
Okay. I was like, oh, all right, fine. Sorry.
No, there's a lot here in this little bit, which obviously there's a lot when we talk about stones, which the stones for the first temple, they were cut at the quarry, and so there was no tools at the building site.
Oh, so they all had to be perfected at the quarry.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then brought over and built.
Well, that makes sense. I was like, there's no way they could build a fancy temple with no tools.
So they just brought them and fit them together on site. That's
okay. Well, that makes sense. That's fine. Okay. I'm less angry about that now.
Okay.
Continue.
Good. Okay. Now that we know the truth on that, I'm just making things up as we go. It's fine.
Nobody listen to her. Just turn this podcast off. We're garbage.
That's right. We're done. Hey, at least I tried to find the truth, right? I didn't just leave it. I don't know. Just leave it there. Whatever.
I mean, I would do the Googling, but my phone is currently holding my camera up on my computer so that you can actually see my face. So it's also helping keep me from not paying attention to you. I have the...
Okay. No, sorry. Back to what we're talking about.
Go.
Get back on track.
Go. Continue.
So it talked about the jars.
Right.
The purification jars. Each contained 20 or 30 gallons, not 300 or 500 or whatever you said.
Whatever. I wasn't saying
Jesus-
each jar held that much. I was saying in total.
Total, it's still 120. I'm just saying. Minimum 120. Okay, so moving on. Jesus turns to the servants and says, fill the jars with water.
Right. They do this.
So they did it. They were obedient to what Jesus told them to do.
Yes,
Didn't have
because
to be.
his mother told them to do what he said.
But who is she? We don't know how she now gets to be the one in charge telling them what to do. Who is this woman that's now telling them, listen to him, do what he tells you to do? So there's a lot of like questions there, but they were obedient.
Mm-hmm.
She said, do it. I don't know what else we're going to do. Okay, so we fill it with water. So they filled them with water. So they were obedient. Not only did they fill them with water, they filled them to the very top, which is important because nothing else can be added to it. There's no razzle dazzle going to be sprinkled in there because they are full to the brim.
Right. You couldn't add like a couple drops of food coloring and make it look like wine.
Right. You couldn't add more wine and then it's super diluted wine.
I didn't think about I didn't think about that. I think we've actually talked about that when we did the class, but I didn't think about that in this moment of like you couldn't add anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like you could realistically add some food coloring to it, but like they didn't have that back then.
But you couldn't stir it around. If you put it in there, you couldn't stir it around.
I mean, you could.
How would you stir it around?
Spill some.
They're stone, 60-gallon.
You stick a finger in there.
Okay, but anyway, so now he tells them, draw some out and take it to the chief servant, and they did.
Right. Oh, so mine says head waiter, which is basically, from what I understood watching the show, it was kind of like the MC, the main guy running the wedding.
Right.
Okay.
The bridal coordinator. Right. The wedding coordinator. So they take this to this chief servant, head waiter, whatever it is. It doesn't say yet that it's wine.
Right. Yeah, mine, it says, verse 9, when the head waiter tasted the water, after it had become wine, he did not know where it came from, but the servants knew.
The servants who had drawn water.
Oh.
They didn't draw wine. They drew water.
Oh.
Knew.
Oh. Oh, I didn't pick up on that. They drew water back out, and then when he went to take a drink, it turned into wine.
Yeah. But so let's just talk. So my point here is the servants. Because when you put yourself in place of these servants.
Oh, I'm sure they were like, this dude's crazy. Why did I fill this jar all the way to the top with water just to take the water back out and take it and pretend it's wine? And oh God, someone's probably going to fire me.
Yes, I'm fixing to get in big trouble.
All right.
Because now they're telling me to give this water to the head coordinator, and I'm fixing to be fired. I'm fixing to be killed. I don't know. It's fixing to be bad. So they continued to be obedient at this moment, not knowing what the outcome was going to be. Only that Mary had said, do what he tells you to do.
No, that's such a good point. And honestly, until you're bringing up the servants in this, and this sounds so bad, but I feel like a lot of the times when we're reading all this stuff, it's like, oh yeah, servants come in and out. They're never mentioned by name. They're never really like that important the way we read it. But I never picked up on the fact that they're just like no questions asked that we know of.
Right.
And they're like, okay, I'll just do it. With no hesitation, no questions, no judgment, no nothing. They just do. And I feel like you just like, you don't even think about it because like
they just did it.
Well, I think it's more of they're servants. They're just like in the background. They're not really important. The important people here are Jesus and Mary and the head waiter and the disciples and stuff. You're not thinking about the other people in the background working behind the scenes who also saw this. But I don't know. Do you see what I'm saying? Where it's like you just like don't think about their actions as being important enough to really ponder. Except now that you've brought it up, it's like, oh.
So who was the first one to actually know what the miracle was?
The servants.
The servants. Because the head chief wedding coordinator.
He thought it was wine from the beginning. He just
Yeah.
didn't know where it came from.
He just didn't know where it came from. Wow, they
Right.
found some more wine. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Where did it come from? But these servants are like, oh my goodness.
Right.
We were obedient to what this man told us to do.
Mm-hmm.
And look at what has happened.
Mm-hmm.
So this revelation didn't come to the bride and the groom yet. They'll find out eventually. Like, everybody's going to find out eventually.
Mm-hmm.
But the initial revelation came to the servants. And it even goes back to when Christ was born. The initial revelation came to the shepherds.
Right.
So it's never, let's go run to the king and tell him. Let's run to the head servant. Let's run to the bride and the groom. It is the most humble, the least thought of, the most overlooked, and that's who Christ is revealing himself to first.
Doesn't that give you a little bit of hope? Because we're not really important people. Like, realistically, you and I are no one.
Right. Absolutely.
And so then that make you feel like you're telling me there's a chance. You know.
Oh, I hold on to that. There better be a chance, because that's all I got.
Yeah, no, I think that's I think that is definitely one of those things that it takes the level of studying that you have done to kind of notice that. It's not something, I mean, this is the second time now that I've really looked into this book, and I still didn't pick up on that.
I've been studying for a while, and it has taken me a while to pick up on it. So don't feel like you've missed anything. But this is why when we go back to some of our other podcasts, when I said find somebody who will mentor you, who will work with you, this is why it's important. So you can pick up, you learn through reading and studying how to pick up on these little nuances that you go, wait a minute, who are these people? And it clearly says they knew.
Yeah, though the servants who had drawn the water knew.
Okay, so now there's wine.
Yeah, so just circling back, verse 9, when the head waiter tasted the water after it had become wine, he did not know where it came from, though the servants who had drawn the water knew. He called the groom and told him, everyone sets out the fine wine first, then after the people are drunk, the inferior. But you have kept the fine wine until now. Jesus did this, the first of his signs, in Cana of Galilee. He revealed his glory, and his disciples believed in him. After this, he went down to Capernaum, together with his mother, brothers, and his disciples, and they stayed there only a few days. I'm assuming that when it says he revealed his glory, this is just it basically saying he revealed like the might of his power and what he can do. Like finally giving some proof to the pudding sort of situation.
Maybe. I take it as we're at a party. Which I think that's too. This is an important piece. For me, this was an important piece because this is a revelation about who Christ is. He's at a party.
Yeah. So a while back, I don't remember, was it around Easter? My husband and I were talking about watching The Passion of the Christ. And you were like, I can't watch that. It's too gory, bloody. It's too much. I can't do it. And I was contemplating it because I was like, I can handle that stuff to an extent. Like, I like Game of Thrones. I like Lord of the Rings. Like, that's nothing that's going to shock me. But this is different. So I had to kind of like sit with it for, I think I sat with it for a couple months before I finally watched it. And I made my husband watch it with me. I think he had seen it. I don't remember. Anyway, before I watched it, I watched an older movie about Jesus and his life, and I can't remember what it was called. But, and I think this was in like the 70s or 80s or something like that. But point being, like obviously acting and film was very different back then. But the way they portrayed Jesus was very obvious. He was like, he's holier than thou. He's pious. He's stuck up. He doesn't laugh. He doesn't smile. Like, and that's not saying it's a bad movie. It was a good movie. But I go back to, I talk about The Chosen constantly, but that's why I like it so much is like, yes, he was fully God, but he's also still fully man. And I love the way that they show him as a man. Like he has a sense of humor and he laughs and he jokes with his disciples, and he goes to the wedding and he drinks the wine. And like, you talk to some Christians and they're like, well, I don't drink wine because that's a sin. And it's like, well, Jesus drank wine. Like, calm down, Linda. Chill out. Not to offend anyone. I don't
If your name is Linda.
If your name is Linda. I call my children Linda all the time.
It is quite funny.
It's kind of one of my like, all right, Karen, but it's like Linda. All right, Linda, whatever. But no, I just really love how in The Chosen, like he's a human. He's a person. He has all these emotions and feelings just like we do. But even through all of these emotions, he still finds a way to do the right thing and like be perfect and be sinless, even though he struggles with the same things that we do sometimes. But so yeah, point being, like he was at a wedding. He didn't just like sit at home and never go to the bar. Like, I don't know if he ever actually went to a bar, but you know what I mean. Like he didn't just like sit in the synagogue and do nothing
preach
else
all the time.
No, like he was human.
Yes,
he participated. So
yes.
yeah, I think that's so interesting.
So I think it gives him some of that like humanness.
I think it goes back to what we kind of talked about. I think it was in the Jesus episode where it was like, I don't know if his sacrifice would have meant as much if he didn't have a genuinely human experience.
Yeah.
You know, like if he came down and spent 33 years on earth, but like didn't have pain receptors or know what it was like to get drunk on wine or any of this stuff, like he wouldn't understand what we go through. I mean, I'm sure he would because he's God, but like,
I don't think he got drunk on wine. Let me just clarify that.
Okay, but you know what I mean of like,
but he had fun.
To know like, okay, this is what wine tastes like, and I can understand why this is so hard to deny or whatever. I still think personally, and I might be completely wrong, I don't see how he could have come down and been fully God, but fully human, fully man, and not lived life as a genuine person, but still been perfect. Like, I think I think it would have been almost fraudulent if you were like just God in a human shell, but there was nothing human about you outside of the shell you're living in.
And this is why these things of he went to a wedding. He taught in the synagogue. He was alongside of the road. You know, he met somebody at the well. It shows him in different scenarios because it
Living
shows
life.
His humanness. Yeah. He wasn't just, I'm at the synagogue. I'm at the, I'm here. Like, it was very, they came to him as he was walking. He was in the market. He was just doing what everybody else was doing, just life. Like you said, he was being a man, but in that he was God.
Right.
So I just, to me, that was an important piece of his, like, he's at a party. Why you're not going to invite dull, boring people to a party?
Yeah, I still go back to it. I love that in The Chosen he has a sense of humor.
Yeah,
he's not.
Oh, let me tell you, there are so many times that I'm like, I'm never gonna, and then God laughs. And guess what? I do things that I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, thanks.
Yeah,
that was funny. You do have a sense of humor, don't you?
Yep.
Yes. So, but then this changes. So the scenario changes. So here we have Jesus at a party. And they're having a good time.
Right. And then they leave the party. So yeah, it says Jesus did this, the first of his signs in Cana of Galilee. He revealed his glory and his disciples believed in him. So I guess that real quick, this is his first sign that they've seen, at least in the book of John.
Yeah.
Because I think, get back to it, of like John doesn't give a whole lot of details. So I thought that the whole fishing escapade with Simon and Andrew has already happened. So like, not the first thing that they've seen. I don't know.
Yeah,
this is like one of my biggest like aggravations with the book of John is there's just not a lot of details. And I know that's not the point. But for someone like me, it helps so much to have those details. Because if only ever read John, you think, oh, this is the first thing they've ever seen. But
And maybe it is. I mean, we don't know. Well,
yeah, and maybe it is. But I would think the fishing thing came first. Like, it makes
Yeah.
more sense to kind of draw Simon in. I don't know. Whatever. Either way.
Yeah.
He revealed his glory and his disciples believed in him. So either way, it's just more proof to his disciples that he is something interesting, something miraculous, because I don't think they know he's the Messiah yet.
I would also say that when the fishing thing and whatever, those were very personal, very one-on-one. Like, I'm revealing a piece of me in this. Follow me.
Right.
And you're going to see a lot more. We talked about that in chapter 1. You're going to see more. Follow me. This is a sign for a group of people. It's not just specific to, hey, I saw you sitting under a tree. What? How did you know that? This is something has happened, and it was for everybody that was there.
Right.
So I think that plays a little bit into it as well.
Well, it says, after this, he went down to Capernaum together with his mother, his brothers, and his disciples, and they stayed there only a few days. So I will say in the show, his brothers are not there. Mary kind of alludes that, like, they are not necessarily comfortable being around him, which I think that's just, like, fluff for the show, showing that, like, they don't really believe he is who he says he is. But, I mean, in the Bible, it does say that they're there. His mother's there. At this moment. His brothers are there at the moment, and his disciples, and they stay there only a few days in Capernaum, which I'm not sure how far Cana of Galilee is from Capernaum. Maybe another moment of having a map would be nice.
Yes.
I'm sure it's in here somewhere, but I don't want y'all to have to, like, listen to me
rustle around, try to find it. Well, and at this point, his brothers, he hasn't fully revealed himself. So, yeah, he's our quirky oldest brother. And he can, some crazy things happen when he's around, but he hasn't fully said, hey, I'm the Messiah. Those things haven't really been done. And the Jewish community, the Pharisees and the leadership, they haven't really started to seek him out and turn against him. They don't even really know. Like, they know about him, I'm sure. But there's nothing major's happened, so they're fine following him around. So I think that's where we're at. It's this next piece of it where he really shows, don't mess with me.
Right. So my Bible gives this next little section of chapter 2 the title Temple Cleansing, a New Temple, chapter 2, verse 13 through 25. Okay, so starting with verse 13, the Jewish Passover was near, and so Jesus went up to Jerusalem. In the temple, he found people selling oxen, sheep, and doves, and he also found the money changers sitting there. After making a whip out of cords, he drove everyone out of the temple with their sheep and oxen. He also poured out the money changers' coins and overturned the tables. He told those who were selling doves, "Get these things out of here. Stop turning my father's house into a marketplace." So, just a quick pause there. I don't want to have to read the whole thing and lose y'all. So, verse 13, I wrote down, so Passover, for anyone who doesn't know, not what Passover is, but it's a festival or a holiday that they celebrate, and kind of like a remembrance thing. Exactly. From what I understand. But the big thing is, it's one of the times that the Jewish people would travel to Jerusalem in droves. They'd all go.
Right.
Like, Jerusalem is very busy, very crowded, people everywhere. There's a lot of people there to witness what he's doing. And then I also wrote down, can you explain why people are there selling animals and then exchanging currency?
Yes. So the currency, anytime you go to another country, you have to get the common currency. So if we were to go to Europe, we'd get a euro.
Right.
We'd exchange our US dollars for euros. Same concept, same idea. Just like when we do that, there's a fee. Like
the exchange rate, sort of, like tax almost.
Kind of, right, exactly. There's that kind of like fees that are associated with it. So it's not going to be $1 for euro 1-to-1, and because they're not equal.
Right.
But then they're also going to charge you more just because you're changing them. Well, the same idea is that's what was happening here.
Mm-hmm.
So people were making money off of people exchanging money in the temple.
Right. But why were they exchanging said money?
Because then they have to go buy the animals because they couldn't travel because they're all traveling in, and they have to have animals for sacrifice.
Okay.
And so they couldn't necessarily walk all those animals that far. So I'll bring my money, exchange my money. Once I get the common currency of Jerusalem, then I can take that money and go purchase said animals, whatever animal I could afford. Then those who are selling the animals would mark them up extravagantly, way too high. So now they're making a lot of money because it's kind of that idea of they don't have any other place to buy them.
Right. So they have to pay the outrageous price.
Yep. They have no other option.
You're at the football game. You're thirsty. You can't bring your own drinks in, so we're going to charge you $20 for a bottle of water. Get over it.
It reminds me of movie theaters, honestly.
Yeah.
A bucket of popcorn for like, I don't know, $15 when it probably costs them $1 to make.
Yeah, no.
Maybe it's a little more, but anyways.
But yeah, okay, so in the temple, he found people selling oxen, sheep, and doves. And he also found the money changers sitting there. Another chosen piece of information. They talk about it there on the show, and they're explaining to these people who've converted and decided to start following Jesus. And I think they were from the Decapolis. They're people from the Decapolis, which is kind of like it's almost, from what I understand, it's kind of like New York. It's got like a ton of religions there, and they've managed to convert some of these people from other religions. And so they show up to Jerusalem for Passover. And I think the example that they give is a Greek drachma, I want to say is what it was called. And the reason that part of the reason that it has to be exchanged, because they could use, I think, Roman currency, and they could use whatever currency that the Jews used. But the reason that currency was not allowed to be used on premises was because it had a Greek goddess on the coin. So they're like, we can't take that. I just thought that was really interesting, that it was like, oh, that gold's not good enough because it's got a false god stamped onto it. I thought that was interesting.
Well, the other one would have the Caesar's
picture
on it.
Yeah, and they claimed that Caesar was God or something like that. But yeah, I just thought that was a really interesting piece. I don't know how accurate it was as to why they wouldn't use that money, if that was just the thing that the chosen threw in there, or where they got that information. But I thought that was interesting and could very likely be true. Makes sense. But so yeah, then it goes on to talk about, after making a whip out of cords, he drove everyone out of the temple with their sheep and oxen. So this part, I remember when I read this for the first time, I was like, that's not very Jesus of you. Like, I think, before you really start reading the Bible and diving into it, you kind of, everyone just sees and imagines, and that, I don't want to say everyone because y'all have your own thoughts, but for me, I'd always kind of pictured Jesus as this like super quiet, super calm, peaceful, doesn't raise his voice, doesn't get angry, just being. And then you see him, he's making a whip, and he's just like, everybody get out before I beat you. Like,
yeah.
And I just remember reading this for the first time and going, oh my, that doesn't seem very got a character flaw, my guy. But yeah.
Do you feel different now?
I don't know. So this is another thing that they talk about on the show, because they're arguing over, did he just sin? He can't be the Messiah if he just sinned. Because he's got a whip. And they were arguing. They're like, well, he never actually hit anyone. He never whipped anyone. He just used it as a tool to get people to get out, but never actually touched anyone with the whip. It was more of like like wave my pistol but never used it situation. But yeah, I go back to, like, I like the show because it shows him as human, and it shows his anger and his frustration in that moment, and that, like, sadness of what these people have turned the temple into, what it was never meant to be. And I think it was just one of those moments where I was like, it was helpful to see it. Because what I was picturing is not necessarily how they portrayed it, which how they portrayed it is probably not 100% accurate, but it gave me a better understanding of the situation. So works for me.
The piece I pulled out of it was after making a whip out of cords.
That part, he obviously had to go, witness, leave, get materials to make this whip, and then come back.
Or they had the materials there. He found the materials. Okay, I see this as this moment of, I'm giving you a chance. And okay, so my vision is he has these materials. He's working on braiding them together, and he's talking through it the whole time. This is not, for me, like, this is not appropriate. This is not how you treat my Father's house. These animals are to be cared for, appropriately, and you shouldn't be making money. This isn't how you make your millions, by coming to the temple and essentially stealing from people who are just trying to give a sacrifice to the Lord. This is not what God wants. And I'm sure I think he's talking through this. So at this time, when he is working to braid this whip, this is a moment of, you have an opportunity. I'm giving you an opportunity. I haven't started doing anything yet. You can you can stop. You can take your animals and leave. It is that moment of grace that he's given them before he does anything.
Right.
Because this is God in the flesh. And he could have snapped his fingers. He could have spoke the word.
Could have smited them all.
He could have. He could have burned up all the animals and been like, there, you don't have any animals.
What you gonna do now?
What you gonna do now? He could have burned up all the money.
Yeah, see, when I read it, I think my imagination goes more to what The Chosen was saying of, like, okay, he went at some point, he witnessed what was going on, he left, he got what he needed, made the whip, and then came back raging. But that's kind of how I, like, imagine it. But yeah, so he made the whip out of the cords, he drove everyone out of the temple with their sheep and oxen, and he also poured out the money changers' coins and overturned the tables. And I'm kind of imagining he does this, and all of the normal people are, like, scrambling to pick up money and run with it. I don't know if that's true or not. That's what I'm imagining. He told those who were selling doves, get these things out of here. Stop turning my Father's house into a marketplace. And Father's house is just the temple in general. Correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. And so going on to verse 17, and his disciples remembered that it was written, zeal for your house will consume me. So can you explain? I'm assuming this was a prophecy.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, he is quoting. They remember what's written in the Old Testament. Because remember, at this point, that's all they have. It wasn't called the Old Testament, but to us, they have Old Testament scriptures.
Right.
So they remembered that this coming Messiah, about him, it says in the Old Testament, in their scriptures, zeal for your house will consume me. So that is taking that piece and going, oh, I remember that. Okay. Well, that puts that into place.
So what, talk to me like I'm stupid because I didn't look it up, so I can ask you, what does zeal for your house, like, what does that mean? Like, the consume me, I can understand. It's like he's raging, he's mad, like it's eating him up. What does this zeal for your house mean? And you can judge me for not knowing what zeal means.
No, I don't.
But I don't know what it means, and I keep hearing it, and I'm like, I'm going to save that for Heidi and make her answer my question versus type these 4 letters into Google and find out for myself.
And I just go with what do we already know, right? So I think of a simple word, excitement, and that's probably not the right word, but just this, the desire to, oh, okay, what is the right word? I don't know. So yes, some excitement, some on all fronts of it. I want it to be holy. I want it to be good. I want it to be right. I want it to be what it's supposed to be. And that is as a motivator.
Oh. Well, okay, so I looked it up.
It's probably much better than what I just said.
It says great energy or enthusiasm in pursuit of a cause or an objective.
Oh, I didn't do too bad then.
No, you didn't. I'm just an idiot. So I always had a negative connotation behind it of like not Jesus's feelings about it. It was everyone else, and like the lack of care that they had for the temple, and the fact that they just kind of like didn't appreciate it. And like I took a more like the anger behind it all would consume him versus his love would consume him. You know?
Yeah.
I was coming at it from the wrong direction.
Yeah. I mean, I could see how that could be misconstrued.
Right. But I just didn't know what that word meant. And that's what, without Googling it until just now, that's what I was taking from it. So, but I mean, it didn't say like, let me pull it back up. It said great energy or enthusiasm in pursuit of a cause or an objective. So, I mean, I guess technically it could be fueled by rage and anger. It's just like a very like large emotion, which is basically what I was assuming is like, it's like he is like mad about what they're doing. Like he is PO'd. He is not pleased with the fact that a holy place has been turned into a market.
So, and the disciples, his brothers and his mother have just seen this change.
And do we know that his brothers are still there with him?
And when we just go by what it says in verse, what is that, 12?
Because, I mean, it says that his disciples remembered that it was written, but it doesn't say anything about his brothers that I'm seeing.
No.
Like, after that first section of chapter 2, like, the brothers aren't mentioned again, at least in this second section. It just talks about his disciples. It doesn't even talk about his mother. Either way, they get to see this side of him where he's like,
so we have this at a party, having fun, changing the water to wine, and now we have
this
angry. Righteous indignation.
Right.
And I think that's the difference when you put it in those terms of like, yeah, he's mad, but he's not mad because somebody hurt him. He's mad that...
it's not like somebody stepped on his ankle and like clipped him. This is like very like the utmost justified anger because of what these people are doing.
This is a temple built with the presence of God, the expectation of the presence of God, and this is how you treat it?
Right.
And we miss that when we think about churches today. We have this expectation of we want the presence of God when we're there, but yet we don't want to behave in a way or dress in a way that welcomes the presence of God. That doesn't mean God's not going to show up.
I feel like it'd be the opposite of the moment we leave, we take a sigh of relief and go back to our normal lives. We put the show on when we go to church. You wear the nicer clothes when you go to church. You don't cuss when you step into the church.
I mean, and, you know, it's not and don't get me wrong, I'm not legalistic and, you must wear your best every Sunday. You must, like I am absolutely not that way because wear whatever, we want you to show up. But we also don't, there are behaviors you just don't exhibit when you're there because you need it. We still believe that this place is a place to have communion with God.
Right.
And community with each other. So we want to be reverent in that. And that's what was not happening here.
Right. Yeah, so it says, his disciples remembered that it was written, zeal for your house will consume me. Verse 18, so the Jews replied to him, what sign will you show us for doing these things? And Jesus answered, destroy this temple and I will raise it up in 3 days. Therefore the Jews said, "This temple took 46 years to build, and will you raise it up in 3 days?" But he was speaking about the temple of his body. So when he was raised from the dead, his disciples remembered that he had said this, and they believed the scripture and the statement that Jesus has made. If it wasn't already obvious, John doesn't give a whole lot of details about what happens. Like, we go back to his whole purpose is to show Jesus as God. And so he's not giving all these other details because it's already been included in the other gospels that have already been written. Because I remember when I read John, I was like, well, that's a huge jump. He went from destroying the temple to he's dead and now he's back. All in like 7 verses. I was like, what just happened? It was like a whiplash. I was like,
That's a good point, because we're going from their current day to then they remembered after he was dead that this had happened. So they're doing a look back. So it goes from, and here we are, but then we remembered when we looked back after he was already gone that this had happened, and we put all the pieces together.
Right. So it's very obvious in the way, at least this chapter is written, that John wrote this well after all of these events had taken place.
Yes.
He's not like Matthew, like scribbling everything down in the moment.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure he's writing some stuff down, but still, it was like, this was not done in the moment. It's not, like you were saying, it's not synoptic. It's got this goal in mind of proving that Jesus is God, not just the story of his life, which I still am like, just give me more details. But
so another important piece of this.
Yes.
For the first time, he is questioned by the Jews.
What sign will you show us for doing these things?
What sign of authority will you show us for doing this?
And that's what yours says. What sign of authority? Yeah, mine just says, so the Jews replied to him, "What sign will you show us for doing these things?" And I assumed when I read that it was, he's already well into his ministry. I'm assuming by this point. So they kind of know when he comes around, like, kind of what he might do, in the sense of, like, he preaches and he gives sermons and talks, and, like, they know who he is already. It's not like, I didn't read that question of what sign will you show us for doing these things as, oh, this random homeless crackhead just like wandered in here and started throwing a fit. What are you doing, my guy? I didn't read it like that. I read it as they know that there's something about him, and they want him to give proof as to why he just did this and show them some magic. Is how I read that question.
Okay, so let's back up just a little bit, because Jesus is mad, and he's saying, stop turning my Father's house into a marketplace. Then verse 17, and his disciples remembered that it is written, zeal for your house will consume me. But it doesn't say that they remembered right at that minute. It says his disciples remembered it. At some point in time, they remembered it. Did they remember it right then? Or was this another look back? Later on, they were like, hey, you remember it says these things? And then it goes on to the next verse. So the Jews replied to Jesus, stop turning my Father's house. So Jesus is saying, this temple, the temple of God, is my Father. Stop turning my Father's house into a marketplace. Then the Jews replied to that statement, what sign of authority will you show us for doing these things? Who gave you the right? And now you're claiming that God is your Father? What is it?
I like how your Bible says what sign of authority, because like I said, mine doesn't say that. And I feel like that makes more sense in this moment to include what sign of authority will you show us for doing these things?
Yeah. And so then he replies. So now Jesus responds with what feels like this completely abstract, are you kidding me?
Yeah, it was like, wait, they asked you, why would you do this? And he was just like, completely was like, I'm not answering that question. I'm saying this instead, and it makes no sense. Destroy this temple and I will raise it up in 3 days. And you're like, wait, you didn't answer my question.
I think for me, I will just, personal application. I read this and I think, yep, that's pretty much sometimes how I feel when I'm talking about my walk with Jesus to somebody who doesn't have a walk with Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
What are you talking about? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because, obviously I'm not going to say, destroy this temple and I'll build it back up in 3 days. Yeah, no, not going to say that. But it's that, for me, as an example, I don't do rated R movies. It's not because some legal thing. It's because of what's best for me.
It's because you're so scared.
I'm very scary.
You just don't want me. It's nightmares.
But it's a personal thing, and I believe that is something that the Lord has shown me that's not good for me. So it is a choice that, we have made, we being me and the Lord. But when I tell people, and then I say, this is something that the Lord, has shown me that is not good for me. So it's not something that I do. What? It doesn't make sense that, and why would God tell me that but not tell you that?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're a different person. And so the things that you're sensitive to or the things that would affect you would be different.
Right. Sorry, I'm just laughing because I'm like, yes, I am a different person. It would be real concerning if my husband married his mother.
That's very true.
And be like, ugh. Y'all, the number of times that we have been told by people that we look alike, and I'm like, stop it. Don't go there. We do not look alike. We don't act the same. Get out of here with that. She is my mother-in-law. Don't say that. It makes me so uncomfortable. Don't say that. And they're like, oh, I'm so sorry. like you've triggered me.
But I'm not ugly.
No, but still, I don't want to think my husband's attracted to me because I look like you.
That's okay. I don't want him to be attracted to you because you look like me. So there you go.
Horrifying.
I would agree.
Horrifying idea.
I'm right there with you. It's fine.
I don't even remember what we were talking about. Anyway. Okay.
Back to finishing this up because really this was supposed to be short.
I know.
It
never happens.
No.
Okay, so yeah, this temple, verse 20, or wait, sorry, I'll go back. Verse 19, Jesus answered, destroy this temple and I will raise it up in 3 days. Therefore the Jews said, this temple took 46 years to build and will you raise it up in 3 days? But he was speaking about the temple of his body. So yeah, they didn't catch that. No. That he was talking about he was basically saying, kill me and I'm going to come back in 3 days.
Nobody got it. When he said it, he was just saying things and they're like, yeah, okay, he's a crazy guy.
Mm-hmm. And the only reason, I'll be honest, the only reason I got it when I read it a year ago was because I knew like the basics of the Easter story and that he was crucified and within 3 days or after 3 days is when he rose again. So I was able to put 2 and 2 together. But if I hadn't known any of that, I think I would have been very confused.
I could see why. But they were very confused.
Right.
The audience at the time, they had no idea what he was talking about. But this is the first encounter that the Jews have had with him. Not that they didn't know who he was. They'd heard his teaching. I think they knew about him. But this is a different side of him that he's now revealing to them. And they're like, okay, wait, who gives you the authority to do all this?
Mm-hmm.
And he said, well, just tear me up. And 3 days later, or, we know it's physically, but he's saying the temple. And they're like, okay, crazy man. That's not how this works.
Now that you say that, I kind of take it as a watch me. You want to question my authority? See what happens.
Oh, yeah.
Situation. He's dadding them. He's like, try to beat me, boy. I'll show you who's daddy. It's me.
I'm going to show you authority.
Yeah. I might have just taken that wildly out of context. Who knows? Anyway,
I don't necessarily think so, because I think it's important that we keep putting human characteristics. He was still a man. He was still frustrated and angry.
Yeah.
Of the way they are behaving. And now they're questioning.
And see, this is where I just go back. I think he has a sense of humor. I think he can be sarcastic, because like after having these conversations and everything, I think it's like he's being sarcastic. He's being snotty in a holy way because it's Jesus. But like he's being kind of like, watch me. Don't mess with me. I'll ruin your day.
And he doesn't necessarily want them to know.
Yeah.
Right then.
Yeah.
Because what's he going to do? Hey, in a couple of years, you're going to kill me. But then I'm going to come back to life in 3 days. Like, what? Doesn't make any sense.
Was this years prior to? Because
Well,
John definitely does not seem to be written in any sort of, what's it called?
Chronological order?
Yes, it does not. John doesn't seem to be really written in chronological order. And this is where I go back to, I get kind of confused between this and The Chosen, because in The Chosen, this scene is portrayed as like the few events leading up to his crucifixion. It's like within days of all this happening. This is one of the things that really sets the Pharisees off. Is the way that the show portrays it. And so I think if this is in chronological order, they've got that wrong, potentially, and it's confusing me. But yeah, in the show, this is like, they come into Jerusalem for Passover, and this is, like I said, one of those things where everybody's like, oh, I don't know if I like you anymore. You're kind of scary. And like, it kind of like turns a lot of people away from him. And they treat it as he's inviting them to kill him because it fulfills the prophecy.
Interesting.
But I don't, like I said, I don't know if that's, I don't know.
And I don't know the answer. I know at the beginning of the chapter it says on the third day. And then in the middle of the chapter after the wedding, it says they went to Capernaum with his mother, whatever. They were only there a few days. So we are getting some timestamps. And then it says the Jewish Passover was near. But was it the same Passover?
Right.
Was it a different time? I don't know.
Yeah.
We know we're going to have 7 signs or 7 miracles in John. Now, this one, obviously, this one's not a miracle, but we're just getting more glimpses of who he is. And I think, too, when I think about Jesus and following him, if I'm a disciple, do I want lowly and humble, knowing we're going to be, like, Jesus is lowly and humble, don't get me wrong. Let me back that up. When I think about my husband, I do want some humility, and I do want, him to listen to me and my thoughts and my feelings and whatever. But I also need for him at times to take a stand.
Right.
I need for him to be strong.
Yeah, no, I agree. I see that, where it's like, okay, I need my husband to be supportive and listen and help me and be my safe space, but also like, if I need you to go slash those tires for me because this person cut me off, I need you to go slash those tires for me.
Okay, at some point I'm gonna draw the line, but
yeah, but I don't know where that came from. Either way, it's
but
just
how
like,
about we go kill the spider? You just go kill the spider.
Kill the spider for me. Be
the
so
strong
brave.
guy.
Be so brave for me and kill that 8-eyed freak. Disgusting.
But to me, that's the point of, we have happy and fun, and now we have don't mess with me, because there is another side to me.
Right.
I do believe in holy, and I do believe in what's right, and I will stand up for what's right. You're not going to completely walk over me. And to me, that's the part that sticks out, is he's like, I will show you my authority. It may not be right now, but it's coming. It's coming. But right now, this is not happening.
Right. All right, so continuing back to 21, but he was speaking about the temple of his body. So when he was raised from the dead, his disciples remembered that he had said this, and they believed the scripture and the statement Jesus had made.
So flash forward, look back.
Verse 23, while he was in Jerusalem during the Passover festival, many believed in his name when they saw the signs he was doing. Jesus, however, would not entrust himself to them, since he knew them all, and because he did not need anyone to testify about man, for he himself knew what was in man. Yeah, I wrote down, how long had he been preaching / ministering at this point if they still needed signs to believe. And then verse 24, I wrote down, what does this mean? And then I did the little quotations underneath verse 24, my little notes, meaning the exact same thing. What does this mean? Yeah, that whole obviously verse 23 is kind of easy to understand. While he was in Jerusalem during the Passover festival, many believed in his name when they saw the signs he was doing. Okay, cool. Makes sense.
Got it.
They saw him doing things and they were like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah. But yeah, verse 24 and 25, I'm like, explain it to me like I'm stupid.
So when you think about the heart of man, and I think that's, to me, okay, so I'm just going to come from my point of view because I haven't researched this little piece of it. When you look at it as he would not entrust himself to them since he knew all of them.
Mm-hmm.
So he's not going to, okay, so we think about entrust. I'm not going to reveal fully who I am because I know who you are. I know what you can handle, what you can't handle.
That makes me think that maybe this is in chronological order because I would think at that point everybody already thought he was the Messiah. Like if you go along with the way The Chosen portrays it, they are all kind of assuming already that he's the Messiah because this is after him entering on a donkey. I mean, I don't want to say I don't know who's right. Is it this or that? Because obviously this is right. But it's not very obvious where chronologically this falls. So
I think the important, we want to focus on, was it early? Was it late? To me, the point is it happened. So when you look at, okay,
right.
This happened, and he says, and we know in the Old Testament, it says the heart is deceitful above all things. He knows the heart of every person that's there, and I can't trust you with who I am because you're not ready for it yet. And he didn't need, so it goes on in the last verse of this chapter, and because he did not need anyone to testify about man, he didn't need anybody to tell him about who these men were because he already knew.
Okay.
For he himself knew what was in man.
Right.
Because he's God.
Right.
So he knew the hearts of these people. And I know who you are. I know what you want. I know how you think. I know how you work. And I can't trust you with me being able to reveal fully who I am.
Okay. No, that makes more sense. I don't know. It was just like two little sentences where I was like, my brain cannot compute this. Sorry. Nope. But no, that does make more sense.
And sometimes we look at what did happen and we don't think about what could have happened. Because if, let's just say, hypothetically, this happened in chronological order. Maybe it did. I don't know. But he walks in, he clears them all, and he's like, I am who I am. I am the Messiah. What are you going to do about it? Yeah, he's saying, I can't trust you with that right now because I still have more things I've got to do.
Right.
More places I need to go, more things that need to be, more people who need to be reached.
I just kind of wonder, even if he had said that, I mean, he's still God. Like, he could have just been like, I'm leaving. I'm going to tell you whatever I want to say. You can listen to it. You can be as angry as you want, but you cannot force me to stay. You can't detain me. Like, if I still have things to accomplish before my time has come, I'm going to walk out that door and there's nothing you can do to stop me.
I mean, it kind of happens later on.
And that's why I'm thinking like he could have done or said whatever. I like the idea that it was one of the last things he did to really get under the Pharisees' skin. I mean, like you said, it doesn't necessarily matter, but I think it would be interesting just to know, like, and I haven't looked into it. I don't know if this is written chronologically or not. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if John wasn't written chronologically just because he's writing with this specific purpose, you know?
And when I look at it with just this chapter alone, and like I said, going back, what it reveals to me about who Christ is he's fun, he's at a party, he can have a good time, he can help people. but he can also have that righteous indignation. He can still have ministry. He can be strong.
Mm-hmm.
He can still be a good, solid leader and not just the life of the party. Not saying he was the life of the party. I don't know. He made wine. Of course he was the life of the party. Why wouldn't he be? But then he walks into the temple and he's like, yeah, but I'm not going to put up with your nonsense either. Did you find something interesting?
Okay, so my study Bible, before we wrap this chapter up, my study Bible, it has a timeline, and it says Passover 30 AD, Jesus' cleansing of the temple. But then it also has Monday, March 28th AD, or 33 AD, Jesus' second cleansing of the temple. So he might have done this twice, and they just took the whip, like the chosen took the whip from the first cleansing. But I don't know where on here the second cleansing, like in the book of John, where it would be discussed.
It might not. Does it say?
Yeah, it might not.
In that in your section, does it give you another scripture reference?
I don't think so. But like I said, this little section very clearly screamed to me that portion of the chosen that is right before he's crucified, with the whip and everything. Which is why I was like, is this not chronologically written? But like I said, if this timeline makes it seem like there's two cleansings.
So just doing a quick search, it says Matthew 21:12 through 16, Mark 11:15 through 19, and Luke 19:45 through 48.
Matthew what?
21 verses 12 through 16.
Cleansing of the temple complex. Jesus went into the temple and throughout all those buying and selling. He overturned the tables of money changers and the chairs of those selling doves. He said to them, "It is written, my house will be called a house of prayer, but you are making it a den of thieves."
So that does sound different.
No, this is the second cleansing. This is because it's in this chapter 21 that is called the triumphal entry. So yeah, this is the second cleansing. This in Matthew, but this Matthew one is the same, like it's referring to the same thing, right? So then this in John is the second cleansing, right? Is that what you're saying?
No, that the one in John would be the first one.
Oh.
And the one in Matthew would be the second one. But Passover is every year, so...
I mean, yes. Yeah, I don't think they showed in the chosen there being two cleansings. I mean, there was one point where they go and they get stoned. Like, people are trying to throw stones at them, but that's, like, still around that same time. Like, that was, like, right around the time of Lazarus' death in the show. I don't know.
Yeah.
It gets hard sometimes to kind of keep them separated.
Yeah.
So, which I guess is one of those, like, arguments of, like, just read the Bible. Don't let anything else confuse you. And it's like... But I like to, like, see things. It makes sense. I don't know.
So
Whatever.
This quick search says the Gospel of John describes an initial cleansing near the start of his ministry, while the Synoptic Gospels place a similar event at the end, just before his crucifixion. Which to me makes more sense.
To be at the beginning than the end?
Yeah, the one in John being at the beginning.
Yeah.
Because like I said, to me, the disciples need... We've seen how fun he is at the wedding.
They need to know he's serious.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's true.
And that we're going to do real work here. We're not just going to be going to parties and making wine the whole time.
Right. Yeah. No, that's a good point. Okay. Well, we managed to make 25 verses last for, I don't know how long we're going on, like 2 hours
An hour
now.
and 55 minutes.
I don't know how we do this.
We get on a lot of little trails. All right.
You know,
Good
stone
times.
jars are important.
They are. Or they wouldn't be in there.
Yep. Well, like Heidi just said, we're going on 2 hours, so we will not be covering John chapter 3 today because it is 10:38 at night. And I have to be up early in the morning. So, yay! We can cover John chapter 3 next week. So,
Sounds great.
Okay. All right. We'll see y'all next week, guys. Bye.
Bye.